Hey, it's Eric the Coffee Guy here. I'm wearing purple today because it's Mental Health Awareness Day. And, if you asked me probably 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I would have had no real clue about anybody or anything that was mental health related other than, I don't know, people wearing purple. Uh, and then had some experiences in my life where I realized that maybe there's things that happened to me that I didn't really think were anything. And it kind of culminated with, just some stuff going on in my personal life that really made me think about how I needed to maybe revisit that. I was going through a very stressful time. My body had broken out into hives. My mind, my body, my spirit were all in distress. And, being a Gen Xer, everything is like, just harden up, take a knee, drink water, and and there was always kind of a stigma of weakness attached to talking about mental health, acknowledging mental health. And in my experience, it actually made me kind of leapfrog a bit forward to where I no longer think of it necessarily as being mental health. I think about it as being health. And when I saw that my body had manifestations of stress that were showing from my mind and my mental state, that I realized that the two are inexorably linked to one another. Like, it's not just, no more than like going to the dentist. If you have bad dental hygiene, you're going to suffer bad health. It's even worse with mental health. So here at Compass Point Coffee, our motto, which comes from my family motto, is be kind to your fellow traveler. You never know what people are going through, and it's really easy to sit there and judge and to diminish until you're caught up in it yourself. And by that point there, because you've gone through a lifetime of probably diminishing those things, when they actually hit you, you really aren't prepared to deal with it. I used to think that if I needed to rely on somebody, a therapist, maybe some medications or whatever, I used to think that would erode my resiliency, that I wasn't resilient because I needed help. But I think back to my Army days, especially like, Ranger school, where you have a Ranger buddy and you kind of have a contract with one another to look out for each other. And you see it a lot with veterans getting out, especially. That's where it really kind of hits me near and dear, with veteran suicide, because we've all been conditioned to think that stuff isn't real, when in fact it is quite real. And real resilience is understanding when you need help, understanding that you can't do it all by yourself, and you go to get help. And that help can be drastic help, like really emergency type stuff, like inpatient, or it can be just having somebody to talk to. And when you figure out that you're more resilient, when you have the courage to ask for help, that's when you really kind of figure it out. So I hope that message resonates with you. If it doesn't now, be receptive that at some point it may be very important to you, and take steps ahead of time to recognize that there's help out there for people. There's people to talk to. Check in on your friends. If you're having a bad day, get it sorted out. Don't let it fester. Don't let it manifest in ways that are going to be much more difficult to pull back from. Now, I'm wearing a purple shirt. I started this little segment here playing the intro to Josie, and you can see I'm wearing a Steely Dan t-shirt. So it kind of worked out well. And Steely Dan, for me, I'd listened to them and heard them when I was in, grade school in the 70s. It wasn't really kind of my jam at the time, but then later I got into them in college, and it really kind of sent me down a deep rabbit hole of everything Steely Dan. I completely geeked out on them, especially as I moved from Pittsburgh to Portland, Oregon, went to school out there, and I immersed myself in Steely Dan, and then that was my gateway drug to jazz. So figured that playing a little Steely Dan today was appropriate. And, that actually helped me through some really difficult times of separation, hearing those songs, and they still come back to me because, when that went down, that kind of set up some of the experiences later that triggered some of my mental health difficulties, was the experiences from that time. And the Steely Dan kind of helped me just through the music and through everything that it kind of made me feel. So hope that helps. Check out Steely Dan. Check out the Altered Egos. We're playing 3 shows this weekend. And be kind to your fellow traveler and take care of each other.